John Wayne Gacy is a nightmare you never want to meet. He was born March 17, 1972. He died May 10, 1994 by lethal injection by capital punishment.
His nicknames were Killer the Clown, Pogo the Clown, and Patches the Clown.
He lived in Chicago. His house is located 8213 West Summer Avenue, Norwood Park, east of the Chicago O'Hare International Airport. Gacy's parents, John Stanley Gacy, an auto repair mechanic, and his wife, Maren Elaine Robinson, a housewife. The family were of Polish and Danish ancestry, hence the family name was previously spelled Gatsa and Gasa. Siblings. Karen was the youngest sister and Joanne was the older. Gacy was the second of 3 children and the only son. He had many health issues. He didn't do any sports and he was ineligible to go into the military. At age 17, Gacy was diagnosed with a heart arrhythmia. It's an irregular heartbeat that caused fainting spells and was believed to have been brought on by anxiety. Although this diagnosis was never medically confirmed, hospitalized on many occasions with seizures, caused by blunt force trauma to his head caused by his abusive father and a childhood accident. He was a homosexual but was unable to come out openly as he knew that his father would disapprove, so he hid his true feelings until his 30s. Gacy's mother tried to protect him from his brother's beatings. Gacy's dad ridiculed him for being a sissy and mama's boy, and he would tell him that he would probably grow up queer. Gacy always sought his father's approval. Sexual orientation continued. Gacy always sought his approval, but regarded by him as dumb, stupid, and never good enough. Although homosexual, John Wayne Gacy Jr. was married twice with 2 children. Gacy's first sexual experience was when he was molested by a male family friend at age 7, which he never told his father about for fear of being beaten. Gina is a diligent, hardworking, and continuous by those he sought the approval of. Junior chambered Democrat Party and loyal order of the Moses fraternity. He was a member of all 3 of these. He even met with the President Carter's wife, owing to his charity work. But he was unemotional and uncaring and apathetic for other people's feelings and needs. John Gacy Sr. was a violent alcoholic who regularly beat and abused his wife and children, often using a leather strap, a belt, a razor strap, which is a tough leather strap used for sharpening shaving blades. And he started doing it as they were 4 years old. Gacy was beaten across the head with a broomstick so hard that he was rendered unconscious. Continued. These beatings became so frequent that Gacy became apathetic and emotionally hardened to both the beating and other people. Gacy was a bad brother, but he was punished for it. He was not a fighter started as a child, but later in life, he used red-hot fire pokers for torture. He was not an animal abuser. He owned and loved 2 pet dogs. Unlike many serial killers, Gacy was not known to abuse animals. In his preteen years, he had 2 dogs. The second one of those dogs was a spaniel called Prince. At 18 years old, Gacy ran away from home, drove to Las Vegas, and became a mortuary assistant. He had slept in a fold-out bed behind the embalming room, and one evening he climbed into the coffin of a deceased teenage male, embracing and caressing the corpse. Teenage manager at Nun Bush Shoe. He managed 3 Kentucky Fried Chicken outlets in Waterloo, Iowa, owned by his father-in-law. In 1970, having been released from prison, Gacy got a job as a short-order cook in Waterloo, and finally in 1972, Gacy set up his own construction company, PDM Contractors, which stands for Painting, Decorating, and Maintenance. He had an IQ of 118, although he was a high school dropout, owing to repeat hospitalization for seizures and a heart arrhythmia between the ages of 14 to 18. Gacy applied and graduated from Northern Business College in 1963. During his first incarceration at Animal State Penitentiary, Gacy completed 16 high school courses and obtained a diploma in November. He was 5'10", he weighed 230 pounds, hair was brown and short, his eye color was blue. Gacy killed 33 boys and young men. He only took the boys between the ages of 14 and 21, all white, and he picked them up from anywhere. He tortured, raped, and strangled most of them, and murdered 33 of his victims. Gacy's first victim was Timothy Jack McCoy, who was 16 years old. His last victim was 17-year-old Michael Bonin, disappeared while traveling from Chicago to Waukegan, and was strangled with a ligature and buried in the crawl space of Gacy's house. Gacy had one survivor. His name is Patrick Dady. He was attacked in a bathroom. Although he devastated, John Gacy's final meal on death row consisted of a dozen deep-fried shrimp, Kentucky Fried Chicken, French fries, and a pound of fresh strawberries, and a large Diet Coke. His favorite music was Rio Speed Ramp, and he had no favorite film. His favorite book was unspecified, but he claimed to enjoy reading the work of William S. Burroughs, whose book included Naked Lunch, Junkie, and Queer. His hobbies were painting portraits of himself as Pogo the Clown. Gacy displayed his work at exhibits, and others were sold at auctions with price ranges between $200,000 and $20,000 of each. So the paintings were destroyed on a bonfire held in Naperville, attended by 300 people, including the family members of 9 of Gacy's victims. He's an Irish Catholic and Roman Catholic. Drugs and alcohol abuse. Gacy smoked cannabis often to lure his young victims in with the promise of drugs. Drink and excitement. Although his father was a violent alcoholic, that did not stop Gacy from turning to alcohol himself and playing his young victims with alcohol.